What up, YouTube? It's your boy, the author. Back at that ass again. Here's another one. Knock it out the park for you. Yeah, I just want to make this video, man. You know how it is. I only make videos when I really have something to say, man. And I was just sitting here thinking, man. I was sitting here, doing a little reading, thinking about certain things, stuff like that, prioritizing, getting things in order, trying to just, I'm big on positivity, man. So I like to try to, listen to positive, music and do positive things, man, to try to, better my situation. But always trying to better it. But what I was thinking, man, is that, you know, I was just thinking in general about like relationships and stuff like that. How a lot of times when if the father isn't there, man, because I know in my life my biological father wasn't around, but I did have access to my grandfather, so I was pretty much raised in a household with my grandparents and with my mother and my grandparents. So I did, for the most part of my life, I did have a father figure in the household. So I was fortunate in that aspect. I had something. Some of these guys are being raised in households with no father at all. But yeah, man, I was just thinking like, okay, so for the most part, if a female goes out there, right, and she has a kid by a guy, and if the guy doesn't stick around and take care of the kid, automatically, that guy is perceived as being a guy who ain't shit. And in some cases, that's the truth, man. There's a lot of black dudes out here who ain't shit. There's a lot of dudes, a lot of guys out here from every race who ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? But, and it's obvious that in that situation, whenever you see a single mother, you automatically are going to say, damn, where's the father? Why isn't he helping her? He ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? And they may be right in a lot of cases. But, you know what I'm saying? Something crossed my mind too, man. Okay, check this out. What if you know you ain't the main bitch? That you ain't the main bitch. What to do when you know you ain't the main bitch? You know what I'm saying? And here's what I mean by that. Like some of these guys, man, I don't think are terrible guys, man. All of these guys aren't terrible guys, but you know what I'm saying? When you ain't the main bitch and you go ahead and you have a kid by a dude, meaning you knew he had another significant other or a wife when you was fucking around with him. Now, most females won't admit to this shit. They'll all pretend that they didn't know, or when they was with him, they was naive. Now, check this out. The average female, right? She's very into particulars. She can notice a certain scent when a man comes home from work, or she can notice shit a stain on the window pane or on the glass. But you don't know when this dude is fucking around with somebody. I mean, and dudes are pretty obvious, man. If they got somebody, they ain't going, you know what I'm saying? We don't try as hard to cover up our shit like females. Females are like cats. They cover their shit well. Brothers not as much. But I mean, in particular, black females, but females in particular, what to do when you ain't the main bitch. That's what I should write a book saying, what to do when you ain't the main bitch. First and foremost, man, when you ain't the main bitch, and don't claim you didn't know, because they all will say, and someone will say, well, I was young. And now the average 4-year-old female will still try to boss around the average 30-year-old grown man, especially in this day and time with the feminism era and all that going on. And it's like females always right, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So, but then when they in their 20s, they claim, well, I was dumb back then, I didn't know this. But when you ain't the main bitch. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, the one that's calling on his phone all the time, or when he have to step out, it's too easy to find out. Even back in the day, you could tell. Humans can tell, man. I can tell about the females. Some of the females I've been with, that I wasn't a main choice, but we did what we did during that time because it was convenient. You know what I'm saying? Something I might have liked about her, something she may have liked about me. But you know when you ain't the main primary person. So when you know you ain't the main bitch and you still try to have a baby by this dude, or you let him, ejaculate inside of you, without using any protection, even back in the days, you know what I'm saying? And some females had abortions, and in some ways I'm for it, rather than bringing that kid up, dragging that kid, because I'm a part of Generation X. That generation is roughly, I want to say, from the probably the early to mid 60s to about the late 70s, up until like 1980. 1980, I think, is what they consider the millennials, which I always thought the millennials would be considered anyone born 2000, in the year 2000 or up. But a lot of these studies are saying millennials were born in 1980. I was born in 1978, so I'm still not a millennial, but I'm more Generation X. But what I'm saying is, even back then, man, some of them guys were so brutal coming up is because they were treated bad by the mothers. So when they'll have these kids by these dudes, and a dude don't stay with them, they'll take it out on a kid as well, and they feel hurt, used, abused. And it's like, okay, I can understand the dude ain't there, but when you knew you wasn't the main bitch, responsibility has to be on the female as well. You know what I'm saying? When you know you ain't the main bitch, man, don't let that dude, especially nowadays, ejaculate all up in you, man, nut all up in you, and you're gonna have the kid. Now, if you do choose to have the kid and not have an abortion, don't be angry at that kid, and don't be surprised when that dude leave, because you wasn't the main bitch in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Well, you ain't the main bitch. Okay, and I'm not saying I think abortion is okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that I'm here, and it was a time when I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not saying I'm pro-abortion or anything like that. But I'm not pro-dragging a kid, having them just so you can take out your hatred and anger on him from your fucked up mistakes, which a lot of the mothers did, especially in the inner city. You know what I'm saying? With the black mothers. So I'm like, when you know you ain't the main bitch, when you knew you wasn't the main bitch to begin with, but you still chose to have relations with that dude, man, don't be surprised when he get up and leave your ass, because you wasn't the main one in the first place. I don't know what the attraction is to some females who like guys that, I guess it's just a thing where, the saying is nothing's more attractive than a guy who already has someone. But when you know you ain't the main bitch and you choose to still have that kid, don't be bitter because the dude won't stick around, because you wasn't the main bitch to begin with. You know what I'm saying? I can't say all these dudes are terrible and bad dudes. Some of them ain't shit, but some of them is just like, yo, I'm with the person. Some of them were already married. It's like, nah, he's with the female that he already had intended to be with. You know what I'm saying? You, on the other hand, he just happened to get pregnant while he was stroking. You know what I'm saying? And then, and then you get mad when he's not around. How can you get surprised when you knew something was going to happen anyway? Just like if I stand in the middle of a intersection, and I just stand there, and if a car tears my ass up, that's expected. You know what I'm saying? I'm not comparing, having a kid to getting hit, but I'm just saying certain things you should expect. You should know going into that, okay, man, I might possibly have this kid, I'm going to have it or I'm not going to have it. But I said, what you don't do is just drag the kid, especially when you wasn't the main bitch to begin with. And at first, when I was younger, I used to always blame the guys, like, man, because you raised with a single mother, so you a kid, you ain't got no choice. So you always hear, the bad things about your father, and then quite naturally, psychologically, that's going to make you feel bad about being a man or a boy. It damages your psyche. There's nothing worse than having an angry woman who's always who's angry and has a kid, and she's emptying out those emotions, her failures upon that kid. That's causing that kid psychological damage. And some kids got it so severe they turn faggot. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel ashamed of that, and that's what's going on now in this society, this spiritual warfare we're having, where guys are feeling guilty for being guys because of so much man hate in the world, especially in the black community. And the majority of these females are man hating because they made the wrong decision, because they knew they wasn't a main bitch, but they still chose to have a kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, all by dudes who already had a main bitch. You know what I mean? And it's pitiful, man. You know what I'm saying? That's some pitiful shit. So I was like, what I'm saying is don't blame the dude, for being who he is, who you knew he was in the first place, and especially when you wasn't the main bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's nothing worse than a grown female, a grown bitter female who has to raise a young kid. Because I remember hearing that shit all the time. Your pop ain't shit, yada 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 yada. I gotta hear all the time about somebody who ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? Who I don't even know. So it's like I'm trying to, like, she's trying to incorporate you to hate him, which and that's gonna flip back on me, because then if I wasn't a strong-minded kid like I was, I'd have hated myself, and that can split in either one or two ways. You go out and start doing bad shit, or you become, want to be a woman. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I mean, I think that's nonsense. All that male bashing out for dude. This is one thing if you married a guy and he made a promise to you, he married you, then you had the kid, and then he assaulted you, he beat you. Okay, that dude is a piece of shit, or somehow he got broken, and that woman's not at fault. But when you went ahead and had about 2, 3, 4, 5 kids by dudes who all had other main bitches before they even got with you, and you still had all those kids, I mean, you gotta look at it in the mirror, man. Because some of these females, they've been walking around for years. They ain't never been the main bitch. Some of them 50 and 60 years old, they ain't never been the main bitch. You know what I'm saying? You gotta ask yourself why you're never the main bitch. There needs to be a book, What to Do When You Know You Ain't the Main Bitch. First thing you should do is admit to yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and say, man, I know I ain't the main bitch. That'll be one way to help you not be so bitter, or not be so surprised when the inevitable happens. Number two, what you should do is say, well, okay, I know, something about him. I love him. I like his sex, whatever. So I know I can quite possibly be impregnated. So I promise that I'm not going to take this. I'm going to have it, or I'm not going to have it, but I promise I'm not going to take this out on the kid. Make that promise to yourself. 3, plan on how you're going to raise it. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to raise it, in the Section 8, or if you're going to try to bring it home to your grandparents, try to figure these things out. Some of this shit should be going through your mind when you ain't the main bitch. You gotta think differently. You know what I'm saying? I can see if you was the main bitch and then some other bitch came from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? But imagine how the main bitch feel when you pop up pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you hoe, you ain't know, but you knew. 99% of these females know when they ain't the main bitch. If you could recognize the difference between all these colors and go through a man's phone and all that stuff, and you all in the particulars like that, then you know when you ain't the main bitch. So don't give me all that. I didn't know, I was naive. You know you wasn't the main bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's why you mad, because you was thinking you could probably get him to leave his main bitch, but didn't happen. So I just thought I'd make this quick video, man. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments, man. But I might really look into getting that book going, man. What to do when you know you ain't the main bitch. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should call this female. Maybe I should call this video, you know, when you ain't the main bitch. What to do when you ain't the main bitch. Yeah, that's right. Alright, man. Until next time, man. Y'all be safe.